welcome you to this Bible study of the Banking Blessings Ministry. My name is Goodluck Afebu, and this is my wife.
Afebu.
We welcome you to our continuing study on husband-wife interactions between husbands and wives described in the Bible, couples described in the Bible. We've looked at several couples already. Today we focus on a special couple, Mary and Joseph, the parents of Jesus. We've always talked about them through our study of the Christ, his birth and his early life. Today we look at their life in terms of what happened between them, try to understand some of the things that happened between them and learn from them as much as we can, as much as God will have us learn. Well, honey, do you have an opening?
Yeah, it will be interesting to look at, from the eyes of the Bible, the relationship between Joseph and his betrothed Mary, later his wife. How their interaction and what we can learn of it as believers and children of God.
Yes. Okay. And in fact, what we will learn is in two categories. We will learn basically two lessons. One is a lesson about marital commitment and founded on love and obedience to God. We will learn this through Mary's interaction with Angel Gabriel when Angel Gabriel came to inform her that she had been selected to be the earthly mother of Jesus. And then Joseph's response to his fiancée being pregnant without his participation and to the different pressures that came on him from their society. So we'll look at these two things, these two aspects, and what we learn from them is that these two people were really committed to their marital relationship, to the fact that they were betrothed, they were engaged to be married. It was very important to them, each of them was committed to it, and we will also find that at least directly from Joseph's interaction with the angel, we know that Joseph loved his wife. But indirectly from Mary's interaction, we also see that Mary loved her husband to be. Then another aspect of our lesson of what we learned from their interaction is unity in parenting. And we look at two classes of events. One, events related to the flight to Egypt and back, and events related to their annual participation in Passover. Luckily, we have an account of one of these. During the first 12 years of his life, they did this every year with him. But the 12th one had things that gave us more information about their interaction. All our information will be coming from Luke chapters 1 and 2 and Matthew chapter 1 and chapter 2. Well, we'll begin with the announcement that the angel Gabriel came to Mary, greeted her in an unusual way, and informed her that she was going to become pregnant. Mary was engaged to be married. She was a virgin. She had not had any sexual interaction with a man. So this really was news. It was something. It was perplexing to her. She could not understand. And also, the angel was talking to her alone. What about the man she was engaged to be married to? What's his role in all of this? What's going on? Well, she asked a question of the angel that showed that she was thinking of this in human terms. Of course, who wouldn't? I mean, somebody just came and told her she was going to be pregnant. she was a real person, so she had to think about it in terms of what it meant to her as a real person, what it meant to her in her interaction with her society, interaction with her fiance, husband to be. So her question was about that. It was a request for information, a request for explanation. Of course, the angel explained it, and the explanation was it did. I think Mary understood one thing from this, that this was of God. It was not the normal human type of pregnancy. But then her concern didn't rest. She still had to interact with people and explain to them what was going on with her and how was this going to happen. But she didn't let these concerns weigh her down. She simply surrendered everything to God. She said, look, I am your maid servant. You, by saying I am your maid servant, she meant, well, even if I have concern about this, I'm sure you can take care of it. So I'm resigning everything. Let it happen to me the way you spoke. I am your maid servant. So this wholehearted acceptance and wholehearted surrender to God, not just accepting the proposal, but also submitting all her concerns to God with that simple, single statement. That, we're going to discuss this more and more, but let us read about it in the Bible. The words actually in the Bible. I urge our listeners to read these passages again, because the words convey a lot of meaning that at times you miss if you just read it like a familiar story. Only before anytime you want to jump in and talk,
Well, yeah, that's the essence of Bible study. I mean, picking from the last thing you said. Because when you go into the Word, when you study, and it's supposed to guide you to, read the Bible with understanding, to read it more and be focused on meditate on the words, and then meditate on the passages, the words, and then Holy Spirit will give you the understanding, will begin to reveal the things that you never even imagined was in that particular passage. You probably have read, you may have read it as a story, you may have read it, to your children, or you may have read it in school, or even in church.
Yeah.
But the Holy Spirit will grant you, fresh understanding and deeper understanding of things that are hidden in those words.
Yes.
So that's one of the essence of studying the Bible, to help us to read with understanding and explore, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Okay, let's read this. Luke chapter 1.
So we're reading the Gospel according to Luke chapter 1 from the New King James Version. Verse 26. Now in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary. And having come in, the angel said to her, Rejoice, highly favored one, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women. Verse 29. But when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and considered what manner of greeting this was. Then the angel said to her, Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. He will be great, and will be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord will give him the throne of his father David. And he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. Then Mary said to the angel, How can this be, since I do not know a man? And the angel answered and said to her, The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the highest will overshadow you. Therefore, also that Holy One who is to be born will be called the Son of God. Now indeed, Elizabeth, your relative, has also conceived a son in her old age, and this is now the 6th month for her who was called barren. For with God nothing will be impossible. Then Mary said, Behold, the maidservant of the Lord, let it be to me according to your word. And the angel departed from her.
Well, so Mary really asked one question. Say, how is this going to be? Of course, what we are seeing in the Bible is a condensed message, giving us the essential aspect of the interaction of what was going on. Before she asked this question, she must have thought about things. What was she thinking about? It appears to me that the most important thing on her mind was her relationship with her fiancé. Say, look, I don't. You're telling me I'm going to get pregnant. How is this going to happen? And at this point, she didn't know what kind of pregnancy. So she thought about it as a human person, and she was thinking of a human pregnancy. So she was engaged to be married. They weren't married yet. Are they going to hasten their marriage? And then, so that this pregnancy will happen? And why are you talking to her alone if something like that is needed? What did you talk to? Have you already talked to her fiancé? And all those things. Probably she didn't verbalize any of these questions, but these are the questions she summed up in saying, how is this going to happen? Because I don't know a man, I haven't known a man. Then the angel gave her the gist. Just explain first that this is going to be a holy pregnancy. She's going to get pregnant by the Holy, conceived, that she's going to be conceived of the Son of God that will be breathed into her by the Holy Spirit. Then, knowing that Mary still may be pondering what that all meant, the angel talked about her neighbor, her relative Elizabeth, and said, look, this was an old woman that everybody called a barren, but she's 6 months pregnant now. So with God, all things I'm putting it in the positive. With God, all things are possible. But what the angel really said is, with God, nothing is impossible. So yes, you are going to get pregnant of the Holy Spirit the way I described. Look at the one that has happened with your relative Elizabeth. So trust me, believe in God, have faith, because with God nothing will be impossible. And with that, Mary not only accepted, but surrendered her faith, that is F-A-T-E, to God. Surrendered totally and said, look, I am the God's maidservant. The New King James Bible said, behold the maidservant of the Lord. I think the NIV translated it, gave us a softer translation. It said, I am the God's maidservant. Let him do to me according to his word. What I understand here is that in her concern about her commitment to be married and what this meant to her fiancé, she still was concerned about this, but she surrendered that to God. She was concerned about how she would explain it, what she would tell people, her community. How would she deal with their laws and all of that. But she surrendered all that to God. With that simple statement, I am your maidservant. I'm the God's maidservant. Then, of course, obeyed totally, said, let it happen to me as you have explained, according to the word of God. No?
Yeah, I was just trying to see if we can go through this, because this story, this account of Mary and Joseph and the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ is so loaded with everything that you can think of, both on the part of the man. We haven't even started talking about Joseph.
Yeah.
You know, this is just Mary and her encounter with the angel.
Yes.
You know, it's everything you said. It's just there. It's so true.
Mm.
You know, Mary's willingness to just surrender to the call, because she knew it was not a usual call.
Yeah.
And she just surrendered because she knew it was the Lord was asking her to do something.
Yeah.
You know, and when we look at, you know, I think I'm trying to reserve this for life applications, you know, but when we look at some of the things, you know that the call of God in our life is never easy. Anybody that, you know, is saying, "Oh, I'm serving God," and then it's all pleasure that you find in the, you know, the call of God will make demands of you.
Yeah.
We make demands that, you know, are capable of totally changing who you are. Look at Mary with all the risk, going to be an unmarried mother, unmarried pregnant maiden in that time.
Yeah.
And not just that, unmarried pregnant lady, pregnant young girl, but with a strange story.
Yeah.
With a strange story. You know, it would be easier for people to believe that, oh, it was Mr. A, or it was Mr. B, or it was, you know, that will seem more plausible to people, and then so that they can make. But when she comes and says, yes, not just that you're pregnant, you know, outside of wedlock, and it's not the man who you're betrothed to, but you come up with some kind of crazy story that it is the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm. So what?
So she's risking being called crazy. She's risking being called all manner of names, loose woman. She's risking her relationship with Joseph.
Yeah.
All those demands were made of her. But you know what? Despite all those, Mary said, "Let it be done to me
According to your word.
according to your word."
Yeah.
So it's something that is, you know, I think we will talk a little bit more about this kind of faith and, you know, surrender, ability to surrender to God's call.
Yes. And let's now look at Joseph. The way the Bible put it was that his fiancée Mary was found to be pregnant with the Holy Spirit. So Mary had told people that she was pregnant and that the pregnancy was from the Holy Spirit. Some people believed her because that's the way they reported it in the Bible. But there is no doubt that there were a lot of people that didn't understand what she was, didn't really believe her. I mean, just said this is nonsense. And some of these people must have talked to Joseph and said, well, you know, I don't know if you're a fool, but don't accept this kind of thing. I remember our laws, we had the laws. A specific law said that if you were engaged to be married and your fiancée is found pregnant, you divorce her. Right? Very specific. And Joseph was obedient to the law. Every one of them they were required to be obedient to the law. That's if you weren't, there were consequences. Okay? But he was obedient to the law and wanted to obey the law. But this is where a key aspect of their interaction came in. I believe he loved Mary, and because he loved her so much, he wanted to obey the law by divorcing her, but he wanted to do it quietly. He didn't want to expose her to ridicule. He didn't want to expose her to shame. He didn't want it to become a public issue. For him, I think he was just thinking, okay, they will just find a way. Mary will go her way and she will go his way, and that will be the end of it. Then remember when Mary surrendered, this was one of the problems. I believe this was one of the problems she handed over to God in her mind. So God realized that Joseph needed help. He had sent an angel to help him. The angel explained to him that his wife was indeed pregnant with the Son of God, and the pregnancy was from the Holy Spirit. The angel explained that to him, and then said, "Don't be afraid to take her home." Then the angel explained to him the relationship between him and the child, because he said, "You, Joseph, will give him the name Jesus." When we looked at this before, this aspect, you will understand it by going back to John the Baptist to see what happened when they were naming John the Baptist. Then let's not digress into it. It's Joseph's feeling about Mary is what we want to focus on in this particular study. Then because of his love, he placed himself in position where he was going to do something that would have interfered with what God wanted. And as soon as the angel talked to the angel talked to him in a dream. It was a dream actually. But as soon as he woke up, he understood what the message was, and then just went to Mary and said, "Don't worry, everything is okay." And that was it. He dropped the idea of divorce, took Mary home as his wife, and accepted his role as the earthly father of the Son of God. Let us read about this, Matthew chapter 1 and 18 to 21 and 24 to 25. Honey, you have some?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Matthew chapter 1, reading from verse 18, the NIV. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother, Mary, was pledged to be married to Joseph. But before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him, and took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus.
Well, let's discuss this before we proceed with the study. Let us look at what we just went through. Remember, an angel of the Lord explained Mary's pregnancy to Joseph. We just read about that. And then explains Joseph's relationship with the child that Mary was going to give birth. It explained the relationship being that Joseph will be the earthly father of this boy. And the way that connection was made was through the responsibility to give him a name. You will give him the name Jesus. By sending the angel to Mary, sending the angel to Joseph, God was fulfilling one of the concerns, one of the things that Mary handed over to her and said, "Look, take care of, how do I explain this to my fiancé? I'm not going to worry about that. You take care of it." And God took care of it. We see that the most important message we get from here is that Mary was concerned about Joseph because he loved him. She loved him. The fact that they were engaged to be married was very important to her. She was committed to it. And that concern was conveyed in full, and God took care of it. Joseph, of course, loved Mary dearly, and that's why he did not want to expose her to public disgrace at the time when the law was going to prevail in his mind. So he was going to obey the law, then he was going to do it in a way that would not expose her to disgrace. This was the product of law.
Yeah, that's very important, because she was, one sure thing that would have happened is that she would have lost Joseph,
Yeah.
and that relationship was important to her because she loved him,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she didn't want to lose the man that she loves, and she was going to get married to and spend the rest of her life with. So Joseph, on the other hand, also loved Mary. You know, one thing I see here is that if this kind of love did not exist between them, probably God would have chosen another couple.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably.
Yes. That was the reason they were chosen.
Yes, it's not just because she was a virgin.
Yeah.
She's not the only virgin. The Bible didn't tell us, but I can imagine she wasn't the only virgin in the whole of
No.
the land of Israel. The only young maiden that was a virgin. But there was something unique about that
Yes.
couple.
Yes.
Also being from the lineage of David and all that. And
Yeah.
I believe there were other people from the lineage of David and
Many
and
more.
all that. But it's not every dream or no dream, it's not every man in the flesh will go and tell that it is the Holy Spirit that got your betrothed pregnant. Take her, don't be afraid to. Some will wake up and say, what kind of bad dream is this? And in fact begin to bind and cast.
Yes. Yes.
Some would do that. But God saw the heart of these two people.
Yeah.
He is the one who sees the heart of everyone.
Yeah.
And he saw the relationship that they had. And the Bible tells us that love conquers everything.
Yes.
Love conquers everything. So if this kind of love was not, between them, probably it would have been a different story. Or another kind of thing would have,
Yeah.
we would have heard of another kind of story.
Yes.
Because look at it. Even after they got married, he took her home. Joseph still did not touch her until she gave back to that child.
Yes.
This holy child that he's been warned of. And remember, it is in a dream. So it's not like he saw, like Moses, a burning bush, and the Lord spoke to him through the burning bush. This was in a dream. So any man could have said, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
Or just, brushed it aside as a dream.
Yeah.
So I believe it's it's an example of where there's love in that relationship.
Yes.
And they were able to trust each other.
Yes.
Yes,
it was love and commitment. To
their relationship. And that prepared the ground for everything.
Yes.
In a home where there is no love, it's very difficult for God to operate in that kind of, between the husband and the wife.
Yes.
It's very difficult no matter how much you like to go to church, no matter how much, the love is a very important thing. First of all, between the husband and the wife.
Yes.
Then extending to the children.
Yeah.
From there, you can move outside. I always find it very strange when I see, believers like myself inclusive, sometimes you raise holy hands and you profess so much love to God. But the man that you are married to, or the woman that you are married to, you are not able to, you're like cat and mouse. You can't, there's no kind of love. It's everybody to your tent, And then you say you love God. You love the things of God. And how I don't know how that is, how that is possible.
Yeah, how do you know what it means to love God, really, if you don't love a human being?
Yeah.
So
So that home, the love in a home, prepares the home for God's intervention.